was a ton of fun. It's so funny. It was just awesome to be in a theater with people laughing at the movie.
The time machine worked, and we are in 2008.
Oh my God.
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I am James.
And this week, we're talking Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
What year is it? Is it 2018? Nope, we're in 2026. But 2008 is about to be involved because Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie is about our good friends Matt and Jay, and their plan to book a show at the Rivoli goes horribly wrong, and they accidentally travel back to the year of 2008. A big year for you and I. We were in high school graduating. Obama was about to become president. Just what a time. The Dark Knight was everywhere that year. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I believe was being made around 2007, 2008 as a web series. And I didn't hear about it till you got into it when it was a show on Viceland. And I never watched more than the first season, but I absolutely loved that first season. It was hilarious, and seeing the movie come back in this way is something that I just never thought I'd see or hear about again. And I know you must have been stoked because you're a big fan. Blaise, what are your thoughts coming out of the movie?
Yeah, this was definitely a movie that I think hearing out of, I think this played at Sundance or South by Southwest last year, and it was one that I'm like, dude, I hope this comes to theaters. Like, I don't know if it's even possible that it even comes to theaters, or if it's just a limited engagement in LA and New York. But luckily, we did get a smaller release, but released nonetheless. I think it was exclusive through AMC, and we didn't go to an AMC. We went to the Free to Cinema. And yeah, this was an awesome movie. Like, it was a cool movie to go there. I had never been there. It's in Santa Ana, and it's a pretty cool like boutique movie theater. Plays a bunch of classic stuff. Kind of feels like, Orange County's the new Bev. And yeah, I thought that this was the perfect movie to watch there. It was awesome kind of being able to see Matt and Jay reunite, especially on the big screen, because I always wanted a season 3, obviously, of Nirvana, the band, the show. But it was cool to see it in a movie format. I don't honestly have to say, I don't know if it lived up to the expectations that I had. I still loved it, but I feel like nothing could meet the expectations that maybe I had or wanted, Like, I'm excited to see them again. That's all I have to say. James, what'd you think?
Yeah, I absolutely loved the movie. I was cracking up the whole time, but people were putting this movie on a pedestal just because it's a movie that you and I were both looking forward to. You definitely more than me, but still, I was like hyped on seeing it just because I was just like, okay, yeah, like I do remember loving that show, and I love the way it was filmed. And when I found out it was going to be a time travel movie taking place in 2008, I was like, okay, they're going to do some fun stuff with that. And they really do. But just a lot of film talk, I guess, was saying this is the funniest movie in a decade and stuff. And it is up there. It is funny as heck. But just like, I think I went in too hyped, just being like, oh my God, I'm going to see the most ridiculous, wild, hilarious movie of like all time or something. And it is hilarious though. And I guess though, those are all people though who are unfamiliar with the show. So this is something that they've never seen before. But for you and I though, we've seen the show, so we knew like a lot of the hijinks that they go into. And it wasn't as insane as people made it out to be. I thought they were actually gonna jump out the thing and like, land. And I thought they like messed up a baseball game. I was like, how did I not hear about this? But there's some clever filmmaking within that sequence, and there is still a lot of intense stunts and like, pranks going on to make a lot of these scenes happen. And those are when the movie shines the most, whenever they're dealing with real life people out there. But there's a lot of great time travel jokes too as well that I was not expecting. This is still probably the funniest movie we will get this year too.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I do feel like I was like, I don't know if it was just I was swept up in the hype, but I feel like so many people have been swept up in the hype, and what they're feeling is basically what I felt when I first found the show. Because it broke my brain in the sense that I'm like, dude, this is like reality cinema in a way. Like, it's like cinema taking place and using reality to kind of see where the story takes it. And like, we saw a couple years back, we reviewed Bad Trip. It's like an Eric Andre movie that takes the same premise, and I absolutely loved that movie. I don't think it got its flowers ever. It's probably somewhere on the bowels of Netflix still.
Yep.
But this was definitely one where I feel like a lot of people haven't experienced what Nirvana the band the show is. So this being their first kind of foray, it was crazy. And I understand that, but as a fan of the show, it did feel like I don't know if this was the send-off. This wasn't really a send-off, I feel like, in any way, but it was a great reuniting. It kind of makes up for there never being like a season 3 essentially, and it was a ton of fun. It's so funny. It was just awesome to be in a theater with people laughing at the movie. Maybe not our theater. There was some like hardcore fans that were kind of annoying. I like to call them chuckle fucks, but like they were like kind of ruining every joke. And I remember the guy saying like when he got out, like, well, it's like the 8th time I've seen the movie. I'm like, dude, get a job. But yeah, I don't know. It was still a lot of fun, like seeing them on the big screen, especially because this was just something I watched off a USB drive on my TV, and it never felt like because I had watched it maybe after it had finished airing on Viceland, it never felt like something that was part of, you know, the current conversation, or anyone I had ever even known had heard of it. So it was cool to see it kind of make such big waves, especially on Letterboxd and in like you said, the film talk community.
Yeah, and it's much deserved too. Whether or not this reignites like a true season 3 is what I'm hoping for, because this movie, it feels like a one shot of like the show, basically. Like for anyone who might not know what a one shot is, like it's a comic book term where there would be like maybe something during Christmas time where they release like a big issue, but it has nothing to do with the continuity of, like, say Spider-Man, you're on issue 290 and somewhere in the like 80s or something, and then just during Christmas they would release like a 30-page book where it's Christmas Day and he fights the Green Goblin or something, but it doesn't affect the actual narrative. And that's what this kind of feels like. It doesn't affect the narrative of the show. It just feels like a continuation, but has nothing to do with the actual series. But if you watch the show, you know that every episode is the same plot, and this movie essentially has the same plot. It definitely, you know, kind of goes off in another tangent, but the tangent that it goes on is just so ridiculous and so hilarious. It's nothing like anything that we've seen in the show, but still utilizes its humor that it's known for, of making like kind of movie references. Like if you've never seen the show, the first episode is a joke on Jurassic Park, and this movie is a joke on Back to the Future. But there's so many great movie references. This is a movie for film lovers. Even if you're not a fan of the original show, like if you just love cinema in general, if you're a Steven Spielberg fan, you're gonna love just like a lot of the weird kind of like just small little joke tastes that are just made for fans who are anyone who's a fan of just like film in general, I guess.
So the original show had, I wouldn't say no issue because I don't know the behind the scenes, but it basically used a lot of copyrighted music and copyrighted scenes under fair use. And this movie did utilize that pretty well, but I will say I do wish, because I heard that basically in the South by Southwest screening or wherever it did its premiere at, they had the original score from Back to the Future in it. Like they were using it under fair use, but when they were gonna make it theatrically, they had to change the score to something that Jay whipped up, because he's a composer. He whipped it up for this movie, and it is close enough to I think it works. But I do feel like in the show it would have been so elevated. Being able to use that original Back to the Future score would have been so epic. I really wish they could have. I know it's out of their control, but I kind of wish that was something that, like the show, they could have utilized fair use. But I think in a theatrical example is a lot harder.
Yeah, maybe hopefully if we get a physical release, which, you know, is common for neon movies, maybe there will be a separate cut with the original one. Because, yeah, the music does sound enough to Alan Silvestri's original score of Back to the Future. And you can definitely hear the inspiration with it. But I can just tell there were a lot of moments within this movie that it called for the or piano scene from Back to the Future. Like there's so many sequences where like you could have just added that like into the Hangover scene. I gotta say, like most people are gonna talk about like kind of the climactic scene of Jay just kind of realizing he's famous, and there's a scene involving a tour bus. That's the scene that most people are talking about, and I'm seeing going viral on TikTok. But to me, the funniest scene in the movie is the Hangover scene, just because I still remember seeing that movie to this day. And even back then, I was just like, ooh, that's a little harsh right there. But it was still a movie that like those kind of jokes were generating those kind of laughs at that time. And just seeing the way it's used in this movie and just like, everyone's laughing at that, like the scene that doesn't hold up well, and just like I was losing it in the theater watching that sequence. Such great comedy. Like writing that into a script must have been like just like, this is genius. Like I would have kissed my script if I came up with a joke like that.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite joke too. It's so funny. I will say, after seeing this movie, I mean, we both love Blackberry. We talked about it on the show, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited now to see. I just forgot that Matt Johnson was directing the Anthony Bourdain movie, and it seems like he's found his little niche in making these kind of like reinvigorating the biopic genre, like almost in a way, because biopics have just gotten so stale, and he did such a good job with Blackberry. I can't wait to see what he does with Tony.
Yeah, I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time a week ago, and just that is just one of the most god-awful movies I've seen in recent years on like a mainstream level. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but just like, oh man, when we get biopics like Blackberry, I can't wait to see what he does with Anthony Bourdain. But just also the Michael Jackson movie coming out looks like another Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm just like, ugh. And we need people who can take tired genres like that and just bring new life into it. And Matt Johnson is that guy. We've been since Comic-Con. I think it was Comic-Con 2008, possibly. I know it was when we were in high school or about to be out of high school. We saw Kevin Smith talk about Matt Johnson just being like, I was brought to tears by a movie that these kids sent to me, and I just want everyone to see what they're capable of. And that movie was The Dirties. That's how we checked out. And, you know, it wasn't the best thing we'd ever seen, but it was a great movie. And just seeing what Matt Johnson has done since then is just fantastic. He's a very likable dude and loves what he's doing, and works with a crew that he loves and is very passionate about working with. So it translates very well, and I hope he has a long, great career and just keeps blowing up.
Definitely. Love to see the press tour that he's been on for this movie too. It's been awesome seeing him on all these podcasts, and he's such a good guest. I'd love to see him on more, and almost makes me want to go revisit the Dirties again, because I think we watched that in probably 2009 or 10, maybe even 2008. I forget when the movie was released, but yeah, like you said, I remember Kevin Smith on stage at Comic-Con talking about the Dirties, and then going and finding the movie after that. And it's awesome to see Matt Johnson still around and kind of getting his flowers. So I'm so excited for the future of his career, because he's been killing it lately.
Yeah, so 100% deserved. I love that this movie's getting great praise. Like, you know, it's not going to be a box office juggernaut, but I did see that it was like #1 like the other week for like top gross per theater, and so that's fantastic alone. That's a great like bragging right to get and stuff too. So it just goes to show that like the audience is showing up for it at least, and hope it blows up. And this is a movie that probably will get a cult following as it just progresses. So hopefully, I think Neon has a deal with Hulu. It picks up. So highly recommend checking it out if it is playing at a theater near you. Great way to help support it. If you saw it, let us know in the comments below, and yeah, let us know when you do that, because that's a great way to help us out.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, you can catch all our social media links down below for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as our own personal Letterboxd accounts. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.